season is every season. Let's make some barbacoa beef tortilla soup. Something of that nature, and it can be easy, and it can be quick, and it can be in the Instant Pot. So I have here the new Instant Pot Rio. It's got a wide mouth, which is great for this recipe because we are doing an entire chuck roast. We are going to start by turning our pot onto saute and putting a little bit of avocado oil in the bottom. We are going to sear our chuck roast before we start to cook it. Make sure you press the start button or else it won't start heating up. Don't be like me, be better than me. Along with salt and pepper, put a little bit of chili powder and a little bit of cumin on your roast. This is not the only flavor we will impart, but we want to impart as much flavor as possible. My oil appears to be hot and shimmery. We are going to lay our beef roast down, seasoned side down. If you hear that sizzle, that means you're doing something right. Now season the other side. Season liberally, this is a large roast. Let this sear on each side for about 2 or 3 minutes and then flip it over. You just want to get a little bit of a crust on the outside of your chuck roast. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off because we are going to pressure cook next. But before we pressure cook this thing, we are going to add in all the flavor we need in our tortilla soup. I have here a jar of salsa. Whatever kind you like, this is black bean and corn. A jar of barbacoa cooking sauce. You can find this in your world food aisle of the grocery store. It's basically tomatoes and chilies and spices and all of the things that you need to make this a barbacoa situation. We are going to add in a can of seasoned black beans right in. Pour your beef broth into your barbacoa jar. That way you get all of that good flavor right in. Do the same thing with your salsa jar. 32 ounces of beef broth is what you want in here. This is going to make a lot. This is also a soup situation, so it is going to be very soupy. Now, we cannot forget a metric ton of garlic. And when I say a metric ton, I mean a metric ton or 2. This is a lot of food and a lot of liquid in this pot, and you want it to be flavorful. I'm also going to add in some easy onion. You can chop your own onion if you want to, but this is just easier. A metric ton of that as well. Spread it along the top. Make sure it's evenly distributed. You don't want like hunks of things hanging out anywhere because you don't want anything to burn. Now, my favorite part about this new Instant Pot, not only does this have your normal lid where you line the arrows up and then you can twist, but when you do that, it automatically puts it into sealing, so you never have to wonder if it's sealing or not. So we are going to set this for an hour and a half, which is 90 minutes. And before we hit start, we are going to put this wherever we want it on the counter. Don't move your Instant Pot once it's under pressure. We will be back after it has naturally released pressure, so we are not going to depressurize this. We are going to let it come down in pressure on its own so that this meat is super tender. We will be back in a few hours when this is ready to eat. Several hours have elapsed, and the front of my Instant Pot read 2 hours and 35 minutes, and it was fully released of pressure. That means it has been sitting there naturally releasing for 2.5 hours. And there is no more pressure built up in this pot, so I can just take the lid off. Your beef should be able to just fall apart, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So you're gonna shred your beef up right in here. If your beef does not just simply shred upon contact, it's not cooked long enough. Pop it back in for a little longer. Into my soup, I'm going to add a half bag of frozen corn. This will do 2 things. It will defrost the corn, and it will also bring the temperature of the soup down to a reasonable, consumable temperature. Give it a little stir. Now we are going to serve this up. With a little bit of rice in the bottom of my bowl, I am going to ladle in some of my beef tortilla soup right on top. This is not authentic in any way, but it will be delicious. To the top of your tortilla soup, add whatever it is that you like. I'm going to add a little bit of guacamole, a healthy squirt of sour cream, some quesadilla cheese, or whatever kind of cheese you desire, and last but certainly not least, tortilla chips. I like to crush mine up on top. And I know what you're thinking. Is it even good? And I sure hope so, because we have somewhere to be tonight. And this is dinner. Let's give it a taste. This is so good. But of course it's good. I made it. And it was so easy using this Instant Pot Rio. Try this. And follow along for more aggressive tutorials.